Hello and welcome to the Patience to Prosperity podcast, where we learn how to act in opposition of our limiting beliefs in order to reach our fullest potential. Today is actually a really exciting episode because I'm taking a different approach. Today I'm really just sitting here on the mic, no outline. I'm going in completely unprepared to kind of surprise myself and you guys with what comes out. Just speaking from the heart completely, as I always do in this podcast, but they're always structured in a way that has to align with the season that I'm in and whatever I'm focusing on in the moment. But right now, I really just kind of want to talk about some things that are on my mind and maybe get deep about these topics. Yeah, and find some clarity within myself as I'm also, going through these things that you guys may be experiencing as well, because not to put myself on this pedestal and saying that I am, on the same level as the people that you find online or whatever. I know that I'm still just starting off in the podcast world. But when you find a podcaster, for example, and you sit and you listen to their podcasts every week, you kind of put this God complex on people very easily, myself included. Like when I listen to other people's podcasts, I tend to do this too. And I feel like it's just really humanizing to sit on this mic and to just tell you guys, like, hey, the things I'm talking about today are things that I'm going through right now as well, and if you resonate with this, cool. Let's talk about it today. Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's work through some tricks and tips that can help us get through this together, because ultimately that's what this podcast is about. If you've ever read my podcast description, I say in it that we're on a journey of growing alongside one another. I'm not sure exactly how I worded it, but it was something along those lines. And that's truly what I want my audience to feel when they come to my platform. I want you guys to feel like I am on the same playing field as you. Maybe I am good at articulating words in a way that makes sense to you, and that's really cool, that's really dope, but at the same time, I'm human, and I'm just like everyone else. I'm figuring it all out for the first time. We're all figuring everything out for the first time. So drop this stigma, drop this expectation that you have to show up perfectly in every single stage of your life, because it's just so unrealistic. We're put here to learn. You are the student. Life is the teacher. Let life teach you these lessons and stop trying to control it so much. Just relinquish control and let everything happen exactly when and how it's supposed to. And that kind of brings me into the first topic that I kind of want to cover, because it's something that I feel like I've been going through lately and I've had to learn from very recently. And I also have been seeing it a lot in my friends. It's just this kind of overarching concept of forcing people to be in your life. I feel like when you're a very loving person and you see how much power there is in loving another human being, that is all you want in life. I always say, my life's purpose is to love and to be loved. I literally want that tattooed on me. You are put here to love and to be loved, simply put. And I truly believe that the people who really embody this have a hard time, especially nowadays in the dating world. They have a hard time finding people that match their energy and that see things the way that they do. And for that reason, when you find someone that just gives you a little glimpse of that, or just shows you that they're a good person, something that small, because we're in a world where everything is so superficial and so many people are more focused with getting instant gratification and validation from people, that they are not even focused on creating genuine, deep, loving connections with other human beings. And so it's really easy to just find someone that is finally a good person with good morals and just jumping at it and trying to force it into your life, when in reality, If someone is meant to be in your life, no matter how hard you try to fight it, they will always still be in your life no matter what. Like, your destiny is drawn out for you. If someone is meant to be a part of your destiny, then they will be. You will not have to force them to be into your life. And that's a lesson that I've had to learn recently, but the second that I learned it, it unlocked so much clarity for me. Like, I genuinely just now know to control the things that I can control and to relinquish control of the things that I cannot. And that's not me saying that I'm perfect at that. There are still times where, my control freak tendencies will come up and I'll try to control things and then I'll be like, okay, wait, I feel this anxiety right now because I'm not just letting things happen. I'm not trusting the universe. Because when you try to control every situation in your life, you are literally telling the universe that you do not trust in their power. You do not trust in their timing. And that will lead you to places that you don't ultimately want to be. On this podcast, we're working towards our highest self, our highest potential, like I say in every intro. And for you to try to control the outcome of your life, you're not allowing all the good to foster that is trying to come in right now, because you're so focused on controlling the outcome that you can't even see all of the things that are trying to guide you and trying to help you. You're getting so blinded by your own sense of control that you are not giving in to your faith at all. You're not allowing your faith to speak through you and to move through you. I've just seen a lot of people, including myself, try to force certain people in their lives, and I really don't think that it's out of ill intent. I think when I see these situations come up, it's solely because you're at a place where you feel like you're so ready to be loved by someone else, and you're so ready to love someone else that you just jump at the next person that comes into your life that just shows you a little glimpse of what a good person looks like. But just because they're a good person doesn't mean that they're going to be a good boyfriend or girlfriend. And that was a lesson that I had to learn recently, but I think that it's definitely ring true for so many people that I know. And what I can also say is that the second that I learned this and that my friends learned this, it genuinely unlocked this sense of clarity for us that completely conspired into every single aspect of our life. We finally understood what it meant to love ourselves, what it means to actually know your worth, to actually know what you deserve, and to not settle for anything less. There are so many times in my life where I got to a point where I felt like I was the most healed I've ever been. So that made me feel like I was completely healed enough to let other people into my life and to pour my energy into other people, especially in terms of romantic relationships. What I've learned is that the times in my life where I felt like I was the most healed also were the times where someone would come into my life romantically. And since they would come in at that point, I automatically felt like it was right. I felt like I was meant to hop on that opportunity. They were coming into my life at this divine point where I feel so healed, then that obviously means that they're meant for me. When in reality, that is so not the case. And you're always going to be healing deeper and deeper. I do think you get to a point where you are fully healed, but bad things and triggering things are inevitably going to come up in your life. And when these triggering things come up, it is telling us that we need to heal deeper. So that's why I believe that you can always heal deeper than you think you can. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but when we put on this facade where we feel as though we are just all-knowing, and there are no more lessons for us to be learned. We've learned everything we needed. We've healed all of our trauma. We don't have any triggers anymore. That is just so completely unrealistic, and you're kind of just setting yourself up for failure because, like I said, inevitably you're going to be thrown some shitty experiences in life and some things that trigger deep wounds in you. And by you just disregarding that, by putting a band-aid over a bullet wound, that is not going to heal the deeper, stinging sensation that comes from the trauma that you have built over time. Because trauma is something that typically stems from a very deeply wounded place. Your trauma is something that dictates what your triggers are. It dictates what makes you feel uncomfortable, what makes you feel anxious, what makes you feel disconnection to the world around you. Trauma is something that makes you feel these things. So for you to just say that you're fully healed and you'll never have to experience any triggering feelings ever again, it kind of diminishes the power that triggers can actually have. Because triggers are not something that anyone wants to feel typically. But when you look at it in the sense that triggers are something that are uncovering the wounds that you still need to heal deeper, it becomes more of a teaching lesson to you rather than this really scary experience that just keeps coming up and keeps making us feel like we're losing our minds, and like every single thing that we've done to try to heal ourselves just completely goes out the window, because that's not true. That is not true whatsoever. You have done so much work, and I'm here to tell you that I'm so incredibly proud of you for where you are right now. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you're doing something that is helping you heal. It's helping your mind feel a little bit at ease. Hopefully, I'm able to reassure some of your thoughts and your emotions that are coming up if you feel like you're kind of just at this emotional turmoil right now and you can't seem to shake it. But another thing I want to note is that if a situation keeps coming up in your life, it is because you have not learned the lesson that you are supposed to. I always say that there's lessons to learn in absolutely everything in life, and I will stand by that. In this sense, if you are constantly being shown the same types of friendships, the same types of partners and relationships, whatever it may be, that is a key to tell you that you need to change your path. You need to change the way that you are going about things, because it's so easy to just get stubborn with things and to just think that just because something worked once, it's going to work for the rest of your life. But that's not true, because not only is the world around you changing, and not only are you getting older and the people that you are surrounded with getting older, but you are also changing. You are going through these periods of transformation. So why would something that worked for you when you were the most unhealed, unhappy version of yourself work for you when you are becoming the most healed version of yourself? It just doesn't make sense. Your needs are always changing. You always are evolving. Something that maybe worked for you 5 minutes ago isn't necessarily going to work for you in 10 minutes. One tactic I like to use, and I use every single day, is simply asking what I need in this very moment. Because your needs will change by the second. Sometimes I need to just sit down and be with my thoughts for 2 minutes and then get back to whatever I was doing. Sometimes I need to clean my room because when my room is messy, my head feels messy. Like, my needs are constantly changing, and so are yours. So it's so vital to note that you have to constantly be asking yourself what your needs are, or else you're always going to feel like your needs are not being met, and that's just such an uncomfortable feeling. That's something that you do have control in. You have control over giving yourself what you need when you feel dysregulated or uneasy. What it comes down to is just really identifying what your needs are and then giving yourself exactly that. Because that's a form of self-love. That is a form of pouring so much love into yourself that you care enough to give yourself whatever it is, to drop whatever you're doing, and instead do your best to meet your needs so that you can put your best foot forward in whatever you were doing before. You cannot show up your best if you're not self-soothing and you're not self-regulating on a regular basis. When you show up better for yourself, you show up better for others. And you cannot operate from this place of dysregulation and completely out of survival mode. You are not meant to live in survival mode. You are meant to live to be alive and to be present. Another concept I want to talk about is dreaming so big, having such big aspirations in your life that you are afraid to tell small-minded people. I would say that this is something that I have dealt with more so in the past year, because this past year is when I truly understood what my dreams were for the first time. I truly understood what I was passionate about. You know, I fell into yoga and became a yoga instructor this past year. I fell into podcasting and became a podcaster. It all comes down to actually understanding that your passions will never come to you if you are out there searching for them. I truly believe this too. It's almost like it's the law of attraction, right? You can use this in the sense of finding a loved one. You are never going to find your soulmate if you are searching for your soulmate. They're just going to come to you at a time where you least expect it. And I know we always hear that and we don't always believe it, but I think it's just because we don't want to believe it. Like, no one wants to wait around for the right person to come. They want to find the right person when they decide that they're ready for love again and that they want to be in a relationship and they feel a little lonely right now. But the truth is, every single time you feel as though you are lonely and you are enjoying your alone time less and less, you would rather fill it with someone else, that is a time where you should be prioritizing yourself more than ever. If you feel like you don't love your alone time, your priority right now is to learn to love your alone time, not to learn to love someone else. I think that's so huge, and it's something that we're constantly overlooking. Like, no one really talks about that. But as someone who it's taken years to actually learn to enjoy my alone time, I can tell you that if you don't like your alone time, if you don't love your alone time, appreciate it and honor it and find ways to make room for it every single day, then you are not showing up the best that you possibly can for other people. You will not have the energy to pour into other people if you are not pouring into yourself. So going back to this concept of being afraid to tell small-minded people about your dreams, you will get to a point when you focus on yourself so deeply, your passions will become so clear to you that you feel like you almost don't have to put any effort into finding them at all. They will just come to you. And I'm not going to say that you just sitting around in your room all day will make your passions come to you. I think you have to be putting yourself out there as well. A key thing to note here is that you have to be pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in order for your passions to find you. Nothing about you will ever change if you're not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. For me, in terms of becoming a yoga instructor, I would have never, ever found my passion for teaching if I didn't decide to get out of the spiral of weightlifting where I thought that that was the only form of movement that I could possibly do, if I let that limiting belief consume me, it would have been a blockage between me and becoming my highest self in terms of teaching. Because I would have never signed up for the yoga class in the first place. And that yoga class would never have been able to reach me at a level that I never thought was possible before. I never would have understood that that was my passion and that was my purpose if I didn't drop the limiting belief that a workout wasn't good enough if I wasn't pushing a certain amount of weight, and that working out only looked like lifting weights every day in the gym. If I let that limiting belief consume me, I would have never found my passion of teaching. So that's just, I give you guys these personal examples sometimes, just so that you can put everything into perspective, at least a little bit from my terms. I know that sounds a little bit self-centered, but at the end of the day, this is my podcast, and I do want to connect you guys on a deeper level, and I want you to know things about me. I want you to know that the things that I'm saying to you are not just complete bullshit. They're not just some Instagram reel that I found online that I decided to talk about for 40 minutes. Like, these come from personal experiences and lessons that I've had to learn through working on myself and through changing my perspective multiple times in my life, because I think that we're constantly working to change our perspective, right? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That is a quote that genuinely changed my entire fucking life. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. You have to let go of this belief that the way that you're going about things right now are the correct way to do it. Because the truth is, for every right way to do something, there is another way to do something. For every wrong way to do something, there's a right way. There are so many different ways we can go about situations. And then we beat ourselves up sometimes for moving through a situation the way that we do. But you have to realize that the only way you're blaming yourself for going about a situation the way you did is because of the outcome that resulted from it. For example, you feel as though you just forced a relationship, right? Like, it was something that maybe you weren't actually ready for at the end of the day or whatever it was, and now you're left heartbroken, or now you're left feeling unlovable, or whatever it is. You have to realize that you set an expectation for that relationship to be your end-all be-all, to be the thing that is going to come into your life and is going to give you a sense of clarity and love and abundance and all of these things that you placed on it. When in reality, you never set the intention of just experiencing. So now when your relationship fizzles out, you feel like shit about it, and you ultimately are blaming yourself for moving through the situation the way you did, and maybe jumping into things too fast, or sharing too much to that person, or relying too much on them for your happiness. Whatever it is, now you feel a sense of shame and guilt surrounding this situation because you set an expectation from the beginning that if you didn't reach this specific outcome, you would feel like shit about it and it would not be fulfilling to you. So that's why I like to talk about setting intentions instead of expectations in so many of my episodes, because when you set an intention behind something that you do, it is solely from a place of love. It's a place of no judgment whatsoever. You are telling yourself that you are going into this situation with a specific mindset that you want to uphold throughout the time that you are with this person, or exerting energy through this workout, whatever intention you're setting before you do something. When you set an intention before a relationship to just experience the relationship and learn what you need to learn from it, then when you and this person break up maybe one day, you know that you got everything that you were supposed to from that, and that is enough for you. That is enough clarity in itself. Because I think so many times we search for clarity in other people when in reality, the most clarity you will ever find in your life is from yourself. It's from within. We are meant to seek from within, not from other people. Everything that you need in your life is inside of you right now. You just need to unlock the key to a few things. You just need to relinquish control to some things. And when you do that, it will set you free. The reason why you're so afraid to tell people about your dreams is because you have something special in you that most people don't have. You are operating at a higher frequency than most people, and you have magic inside of you. You have literal magic inside of you. Whether you know it now or not, you will unlock that. And especially if you listen to this podcast, that is ultimately my goal. I'm trying to help you see that you have everything you need inside of you. So the more that you listen to these episodes and you genuinely internalize all of the things that I'm saying into your own life, you make meaning of the things that I'm saying and you attach it to your personal experiences with whatever you're going through, that is a sense of connection. That's a sense of clarity in itself. You are giving yourself that clarity by taking what resonates and embodying that in whatever experience you're going through right now. So when you feel like you cannot tell someone what your dreams are and why you know that you're going to reach them and whatever it is around that, that is ultimately a person that is just operating at such a lower frequency level than you are. And that's not to say that they shouldn't be in your life, but maybe that's not someone that you should be dating or you should be spending the most time with, because you can't even tell them what lights a fire inside of your soul. You can't even tell them what you're passionate about, because ultimately, they don't understand you as deeply as you thought they do. And that can hurt really badly at times, but it can also give you so much clarity when you understand that there is someone out there that will be the first person you want to tell good news to. It will be the first person you want to go to when you have these days where you feel your best self and you feel like this big passion just spoke through you and you finally know what you want to do with this project that you've been thinking about, and whatever it is. The person that you are meant to be with will be the first person you want to tell these things to. I had so much fun sitting on here and talking to you guys today, especially because it was just things that were already circulating through my mind today, so I felt like they just came out without me really having to think about them. And I've been feeling this sense of alliance so deeply in my craft lately, and I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in every week. And maybe if you are a new listener this week, I really hope that you stick around and that you can get something from this podcast, because I ultimately just think that my purpose here is to help other people. And when you guys come to me and you tell me that I'm helping you through situations and I'm vocalizing things that you're not able to vocalize, it gives me so much fulfillment and so much purpose, and it's honestly the driving factor that makes me want to sit and record every week and upload an episode. So thank you so much. If you took anything from this episode, please feel free to share it with someone else that may need to hear it, or you think would just enjoy the concepts that I was talking about in general. Shoot me a DM whenever on Instagram at Patience to Prosperity. I'm always down to receive any requests for episodes. I would love for you guys to come to me with some issues that you're going through and, you know, give me ideas for what you want to hear me talk about on an episode. I would love that. yeah, whatever it is, even if you have some constructive criticism that you think would make the podcast better, whatever it is, please feel free to DM me. And yeah, check out my TikTok page at Patience to Prosperity. That's all I have for you guys today. Give this show a rating on Apple Podcast or Spotify because it really helps out the show and it helps other people find my platform. So if this is a platform that you feel like you've been resonating with a lot after listening to this episode, then please just help me find other like-minded people just like you by sharing this episode and by giving this show a rating. Anyways, enough with the self-plugs. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Stay tuned for next week's episode because it's going to be a really exciting one, especially because we're moving into a different season. So this was Healing Your Inner Child, and next season is going to be all about the season of the mountain. So stay tuned for that because I'll be explaining what that's all about in next week's episode. And yeah, that's all I have. I just really hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you next Monday.